Welcome to spoilers. This week I'm going to talk about Elfen Lied. So if you haven't seen that anime, it's an anime. Go check it out. It's on Netflix instant stream, surprisingly, but it's there. You can watch it in its full glory. So let's go ahead and talk about the show. Um, so first off, I kind of want to say the one thing that I started watching I watched the first episode. It was okay. I think it was probably better of the first few early, episodes, but it was cool to see this ambiguous, vague laboratory where they were just like where you don't know what's going on and you're just seeing all this stuff happening and I just love that it just drops you in this it drops you into this this action of it's like okay, well, this lady's like held up by machines and all this stuff. There must be a reason, and you don't know why, but you just. But I mean, her face is hidden. I mean, it says you don't know what's going on. She eventually breaks out, and you're still wondering what the hell's going on, until you realize that she has like invisible hands, Aka vectors that she uses as weapons, and so on. Uh, So that was a good way to introduce you to this idea of. It was just a great way to just drop you into this action where you just kind of like don't know what's going on and then you realize oh the girl who is breaking out is a Diclonius named Lucy who and Dicloniuses are these you know mutants I guess I don't know that have the deformation of forming horns on their head and having like vectors and vectors are just invisible hands that vibrate at such a high frequency that you can't see them. So if you get in contact with these hands, they can slice you up. But they also use the hands as a form of reproducing. They would go to and they unlike normal people how they reproduce. They do it through the man through the men that where where I guess they put in like a piece of their DNA or something inside their DNA I guess and when they make a baby the baby has that stuff all set to go I guess. They explain it in the show better and that to me is I think makes it so interesting is how scientific Elfen Lied gets with the Dicloniuses, where it's not this thing that's just there and everyone is okay with it. It's something that these people are trying to either understand or try to use for another purpose, etc., etc. And I really think that's a good concept. Now, this is a cultural issue I have with the show. The main character is a love triangle. One with Lucy, makes sense, right? Yeah. The next one, it's gonna blow your mind. He is in love with his cousin. That is so, and people can tell me how it's the culture is different. I mean, some places it's acceptable, whatever. But to me, it's just I still don't like having incest anywhere at all. I don't care if it's their culture. If it's their culture, fine. I don't think it should be included in something that another culture can see, and it's whatever. But I'm getting derailed here. Uh, but other than that, the show I think is interesting. The first few episodes, I think, the first 7 episodes, I think, or 6, I don't remember, are the worst episodes in my opinion because they don't really do anything. And in that respect, like all they do is they constantly tease this idea that the main character has repressed this a specific memory, and since it's like an amnesia, almost about some certain event in his life about his family uh, and then and but so like what really happened was the main character's family died by Lucy. Lucy killed them because the main character lied to her because that's the great thing to do with people is to lie to them. No, yeah, he lied to them. She got a little pissy and she started to kill pretty much his family, his dad, his sister, out of a misunderstanding or whatever. Um, but so he repressed that memory, and so when he sees that, years later, he meets a girl with the same hairstyle, horns, you know, and it doesn't hit him like it should hit him like in the beginning. It's like you are like it's let's say it's almost coming back to him. Then it's just, oh no, never mind, and it's just episodes of that of, oh man, you might be something that I might remember, but I don't remember. Oh well, never mind. And it just this constant tease of it, and it was just it just kept going to the point where I wanted to stop watching. Uh, and the thing is, like, Lucy invented this other personality to cope with herself or something. That was probably the worst personality to be designed by anyone, because she resembled a cat pretty much, because she said "new" all the time, or "mew." I'm guessing "new," and it was just annoying. Every time she was on screen to hear "nee nee nee nee," it was just like, oh god, rip my ears off. So like, when episodes started to not feature "new" as much is when the show got better to me. Yeah, but really the episode that was so good was the childhood episodes. Is when they started going, behind the scenes with the main characters showing their childhood and all that. That was so cool to me, and I really loved that part of the show. To see that, but and it was just so cool seeing like how Lucy was being bullied, and how that formed her as she was getting older, and it was great because that those episodes when you saw Lucy being bullied and all that stuff, it gave you this sense of sadness, and then when another character comes in to Lucy to help comfort her, you almost believe that, yeah, no, she's a nice person. She will definitely, be a nice, a good friend for Lucy, and so on. And then they do this reveal. They see that they have this dog, this little puppy. That Lucy found this puppy in the woods that she takes care of and feeds, and all this is her. So basically, it's her only real friend. She shares the dog with her, and then she goes in the sea. And this scene, to me personally, was almost hard to watch. I had almost, it was just kind of, it was like a pit in your stomach. Like, it was just like, oh. So what happens in the scene is, Lucy's minding her business, and the bullies come in. And they start teasing her naturally, like, "Oh, you think you're so smart?" And you're just like wondering, like, oh, what is going on? Like, what are they gonna do now? Because like, I mean, Lucy handles them before by just not reacting, which is kind of what you should do with bullies, not react. But anyways, so like, you kind of don't know where these bullies are going with their teasing, and then they bring in. I mean, even that little girl that wanted to be Lucy's friend was in the scene as well, I think, and they brought in Lucy's puppy, and brutally, in my opinion, was almost unnecessary. Killed the puppy. They killed the dog, and just to be a bunch of assholes to this girl, and even that girl that wanted to be Lucy's friend betrayed her because she showed them the dog and all that, and that to me was just the hardest thing to accept. And when I was watching that scene, I was like, oh, I can't believe this happened. And rightfully so, she killed them all. And I think out of all the things in that show, and all the morals you could pump into people's heads, those, and you get to say child murder is wrong, all this stuff. Those fucking kids that killed that dog, bullied this innocent girl, had a betrayed her. To me, they deserved it. I mean, it was a weird sense of, yeah, they deserve to die, and then you're just like, wait, I'm rooting for what the hell? And and that's really what I like about Elfen Lied a lot, as well as that you're following this character that you kind of shouldn't be rooting for because she kills people either intentionally or not. She, does that. Overall, I mean, it was this weird sense of this, and that episode was just so beautiful in forming that character and just kind of making her more likable in a sense. Even when she killed the main character's family, you still didn't hate her for that. You mainly felt sorry for her because she didn't understand what she was doing. She didn't understand that killing is wrong, and she had a lot of stuff going on in her head that was oh. I know I'm bumping up the time, and I'm sorry this goes over, but last thing, the finale, the last episode was another grand hit of a great episode. To me, like that episode is also that episode and the the childhood episodes I think are the episodes that made the show great. The finale, I thought you could argue that ended on a cliffhanger. To me, it was an okay cliffhanger because it was just it left you with enough closure, and you could kind of imagine what that guy. I mean, it's whatever. It made you feel okay that it ended, even though it was supposed to have a second season. But the last episode I thought was great that they resolved the issue between the main character and Lucy. That to me I thought was such a great payoff because in a sense throughout the entire show, even this in the entire show, you kind of wanted Lucy and this character to get together and they finally do, and it's so good to see it work out like that because I kind of like how they handled it. The music was just on at the right time, and really Lucy's character I thought really pulled it in. A lot of people say, oh, watch sub. The dub is stupid and bad. And yeah, the dub in Elfen Lied is. I mean, I think it's ultimately good. I think it's good dub. I don't really think it's that bad. There was really not a lot of cringing. I get more cringing in G Gundam than I do with this. But I watched a YouTube video where they had like the English dub, but then the subtitles that would usually go along with the usual Japanese audio, whatever. And this is the difference to me, where I actually think the English dub is a billion times better than the Japanese sub is. The ending to it had such a. I mean, there was so much tension, and I loved that. Like in the English version, Lucy said, I fought armies, and I did all this stuff, so we could be together and we could talk and all this stuff, and that it was just so it was so wasteful. It had this big scale, and it was just like yes. While when you see. But in the Japanese subtitles, it says like, oh, I had to fight to survive, or something that was even less meaningful in my opinion. And I was just like, yeah, this kind of ruined the ending to me. I think the ending with the English dub is probably the better ending. So yeah, I liked Elfen Lied. I do recommend it. It has a interesting story. The science in it is pretty interesting with the dicloniuses and all that stuff. That's pretty fun. So thanks for watching. Sorry I went over. Usually I like to keep these videos at least 10 minutes. So sorry if I went over. See you next time. And next week I will do Fully Cooley. So stay tuned.